I'm that bull in the hood. New lamb truck got the bull in the hood. Black and red looking like the bulls hit the hood. 23s, oh, they got the bull sitting good. This game 6, this can't miss. Shooting my shot, this ain't fish.
Welcome back, Bulls Nation, to another episode of the Nothing But Bull podcast. I'm your host, Derek, and as always, I'm here with my main man, Justin. Justin, what's going on?
Nothing much. Just having an airing of grievances with my with my students today. It was very enlightening, to say the least. Letting get off of their chest, like they had a problem with a student, and I was like, all right, we're just gonna get this out in the open because this is our family, our school family. And like there was one particular student, I had to like get down to the bottom of what was going on. And like I said, so who's had a problem with this student? And like everybody's hands like just shot up in the air. And like we were like getting specifically like, you know, what was the issue? And I had to help them understand that they needed to do some self-reflection. And I was telling them like, look, guys, a lot of the things that you were telling me are things that you do that annoy me. So before you start getting annoyed with somebody about that, maybe you need to do some self-reflection on if you are exhibiting these traits inside of the classroom presently. So that it was like very therapeutic for them and for me, to say the least. But that's what I was up to. Not much teaching, just a whole bunch of social, emotional learning, you know.
So a Jordan Poole, Draymond Green practice atmosphere there. And also we have Melissa here. Melissa, how's it going?
What's up, y'all? I'm great. I'm good. Life is good. I'm out here in the country.
That's not what you said before. You didn't say
what did I say?
You said the boonies.
Okay, the boonies. Why you gotta call me out like that? That was yesterday. That was a long time ago. Okay. So I'm in the country. So if my Wi-Fi goes out or anything like that, you guys got this.
No, we're gonna call you right back up again.
Right.
We're gonna start over.
It's like the link that you have works. If you lose connection, you can use that same link to get back in.
I'll send you guys some paper mail with my responses and questions. Hopefully you get it in time.
Yeah, out there in the sticks.
Yes.
Are you allowed to share like where exactly in the sticks, or just you just want to leave it like to the sticks?
I'm in Galena, Illinois. It's like it's right by Iowa, like bordering Dubuque. It's pretty close. It's like 20 minutes away. So you wouldn't even know. It's the oldest town in Illinois. It's really cute though. Their little downtown is pretty cute.
Oh, that's cool.
A lot of green, a lot of animals, a lot of peace in nature.
I think we all need some peace in nature. I think, as Derek was talking about earlier, maybe we could send like Derek and Poole, Draymond and Poole over in that area to like hash out their differences. What's been going on with you, Derek?
Yeah, nothing much. Just same old. Working, pushing out Bulls content on the podcast, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah, Derek.
Trying to get guests.
Meaning to ask you, like, when do you sleep? Because like I see you up at all times of the night, and then I wake up like around 5, and like you will have like something up like within like an hour or two of that, and I'm like, when does this man go to bed?
Never.
I don't think he does.
I'm always up.
He's like a customer care chat number. You text him at any time. He'll be up.
Are you wearing khaki right now?
No, I don't do khakis.
Wait, I have
Yeah, they're-
khakis. Like, what's
wait.
wrong with khakis?
What? You don't do that? You don't have any khaki drip, Justin? Since you just learned that word.
I have on khakis right now. I'm not gonna share them for the whole entire.
You got the khaki drip.
Is that a good? That's a good thing, right? Khaki
Hey.
drip.
I don't do khaki.
Khaki
Joggers
drip.
or jeans. That's it. Or shorts.
Khaki's cool. Do you, Jess?
Yeah. See, the way you said it makes me sound lame. Yeah, that's cool.
Speaking of, I'm looking, yes, our guest this week is in the waiting room. So let's bring him on in. And there he is. We're being joined by Bulls outsider John Sabine. And John, you're muted right now.
What is this? Amateur hour? My God, that's what a. It's my first time streaming.
Weren't muted. For
I
that.
know. Is the recording started?
Yes, the recording is started.
All right, let's do it. What's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for coming on.
This is thrilling. My God, thank y'all. This is good. I've been looking forward to this all week. You have no idea. So thank you guys, and thanks for dealing with how professional I started this podcast.
Wait, looking forward to coming on with us?
Yeah,
It's a
all
slow
week.
week for you.
I mean, I never get to talk hoops anymore. I just miss it. And so, especially people who are, I really enjoy. I love your podcast. Big fan.
Thank you.
I've listened to the Big Dave one twice. I liked it so much, and I don't do that with podcasts. But I was like, I'm gonna listen to it again and see if I've missed anything.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. So, like, I was wondering because, like, with the Outsiders, and you're gonna have to give us like some background of like how you all came together with the Outsiders. And I didn't even get a chance to ask Matt and Dave like just like the concept of the name. But you were with the Outsiders when things were terrible, and as mentioned to Matt and Dave, like that was therapy for us.
Thank
and then you were not there anymore, and they're good.
I mean, right? And so I don't know what correlation or causation means, but I think it's one of them. The fact that I watched every second of the Jim Boylan era, I did not miss a second. I think I missed one game because I had a wedding. So, and it was a Bulls win. I think we beat the Clippers, like our biggest win of the year that year. That was brutal. That was like the most brutal basketball. And to watch it with like Kendall Gill and Will Perdue, like guys who like know stuff, and just to see them go like, oh man, all right, this is bad. And you're like, that was like half the fun to be like, oh, this is really bad. But yeah, it was that might be the lowest point of the Bulls, and I'm including right after Michael retired the second time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
Because we were still like champs, right? Like we still had like the three-peat behind us. Like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like we expected to be bad then.
But you guys got us through like
Thank
a
you.
lot, and then now they're good, and
I
you
know.
left.
Yeah,
So,
they
but now
said no,
you're
thank
back.
you.
You're back now, so I hope like there's nothing like no pattern like. 'Cause
I
you-
know, right? Well, I know, truly. Like I don't want to be we're the cause, then I will never ever talk about the Bulls again because I'd rather them win. You know what I mean? But it's very. I remember when we found out we were getting canceled, I was like, "You mean to tell me we finally get rid of Garpax and we watch every game of this, and now you're getting rid of us? That's crazy!" Like the Bulls are so bad they didn't invite them back for the rest of the COVID season. Remember, they were like, "Hey, U8 teams." No, thank you. Like that's insane to think about in hindsight. That like there were 8 teams that were so bad. They were like, we don't have hotels for you at Disney. Like stay home. And like we were like, okay, yeah, we'll stay home. Which is insane to think about. That's how bad they were. They did not even go to the bubble. They missed the whole bubble, which is so funny to me. But now I think the Bulls are good, and I'm dying to hear how you guys feel about this upcoming season because the Bulls are good, but I also think like everyone's good now, and it feels weird. Like everyone's good.
Yeah, it's like the most competitive the East has been since Jordan was playing.
I would say the whole league. I think the West is crazy too. I think they're all. I think there's more parity in the West. Like I think there's more tanking teams. But like, who's good? Who's the worst team in the East right now? The Hornets, the Pacers.
I would think the Pacers probably like the Pacers, but I don't even
Yeah.
know because like as you're mentioning, there's so much talent that's like spread across the
Yes.
league right now, and it's a great thing because there are like you can legitimately tune into a game and find like some type of entertainment like version of it. Like you're not going to be tuning in and like, oh, that's just going to be a blowout. Like literally, I think every single game has a chance to be highly competitive. It might get away from it, towards the end of the game, but it's going to be a competitive game no matter what. Which is really like I'm looking at this Bulls team and I'm just thinking about everybody across the league. There are no like easy outs really anymore. Like you can't just say, oh, we got this game. We're just gonna like allow our guys to coast like in the second half of the game. Like it's gonna be kind of like a dogfight. And I don't think we've seen anything like that in the league for a very long time.
I completely agree. Like if you would tell me that Halliburton, Miles Turner, and Betty Hield were on a team, I'd be like, that's a 7th seed in 2018. You know what I mean? Like that's a 7th seed. Like, and they're probably going to be last place. And you're like, dang, that's like an all-star center, and like Halliburton's legit and Hield's pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels very much like there's just. I'm worried about the Bulls because I think the ceilings, the individual talent ceiling is low. We don't have a guy. We're a committee team. And I'm just worried that at the end of the day, like sometimes you just need a guy who's going to be the one to step up and just hit it's sometimes it's DeRozan, but I don't think he's at that caliber compared to like your KDs and your Jokic's and your Embiids. I mean MVP guys, what I'm saying.
He was breaking records last season. Like,
Oh,
hopefully he can pull off something similar to. I mean, he was in MVP conversation right before All-Star, and then the team just kind of went down
Yeah.
a little bit with Alonzo.
That second half was rough.
Other injuries.
but if there was a draft, if you could draft anyone, like the league's open, when is the first Bull taken and who's the first Bull taken? It's probably like late teens, right?
Just say like maybe 10th, 11th, then probably.
Are you kidding? Okay, let's go. We could go through this. Like, I feel like we should go. But okay, who's the first Bull taken? Here's my question: who's the first Bull taken?
Zach?
I'm gonna say Zach.
It's Zach, right?
Sure.
I agree. I completely agree. Some crazy person will say Pat Williams, and I'll be like, I love it. I love it. I'm here for it. I'm here for the Pat Williams delusions. I'm here for it because I believe it all. You could tell me he in 10 years he has 5 MVPs, and I'd be like, sure, why not? Sure. I don't know this guy. I can see it. But yeah, I just think that's what worries me about the Bulls this year is like they're good, but so is everyone else. And I feel like that's such a bummer because we were so bad for so long.
I mean,
I don't know.
at
He said
least
he was up for the challenge. I like what he said in the presser, like that everybody else got better. Of course, he's gonna say that because it's DeMar, but
Yeah.
it's like it's the only way I'm gonna get better. If everybody else is better, I want to play with better, against better teams. It's a good
And
answer. It's a good DeMar answer, and I kind of believe it. I believe it. He got that dog in him, especially
He
after
does.
especially after what Bleacher Report said about him again.
What does Bleacher Report do? What did the city of Chicago do to Bleacher Report? Because I feel like every time it's like just Chicago specific. Like I feel like they really go out of their way to just troll
Who
the
in
beautiful
Chicago hurt you?
Chicagoland area.
the writers are probably from New York and grew up as Knicks fans.
I mean, that's what it is, right? That's got to be what it is. But I do think, doesn't it feel like DeMar's been a Bull for like 7 years?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
He feels like when he retires, it feels like even though probably Toronto, but like he just feels like a Bull. He really does. I have to remember, it's like, oh, he's only had 1 year with us. That's crazy. Because it feels like it's been longer.
Yeah, he's
I think it's
so
probably because of the impact that he seems to be having throughout the organization. Like when you see like his steadying influence, not just on the court, but also like how a lot of teammates, especially those younger teammates, seem to just kind of gravitate towards him. Like it seems like he just had a tremendous impact, either from just providing some on-court wisdom or just like the continuous workouts that we've been seeing with him and P Will over the summer. Like he just, I don't know, there's just something about certain people who are just like energy movers. I think that DeMar is definitely one of those types of cats.
I like that. I do too. He a culture guy, but like usually that's usually said for someone who isn't talented, right? You know, he's a culture guy. He's good in the locker room, but he's also good on the court too. This is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, also you kind of like consider DeMar going hand in hand with the Bulls turning things around because when we had Garpax, we were getting like Jabari Parker and Otto Porter Jr. and
Wayne Selden Jr.,
Walt Lemon Jr.
Jakar Sampson. We had two Sampsons at some point, right? Like
Yeah.
Jakar came back at two. It was like the return of Jakar. I remember that was like it. I remember those lineups we would do like in March, where it was like all 10-day contract guys, and it's like we still have like 7 weeks left. Like, what are we doing? And they were like, "We're done. We're done." Robin Lopez is the only guy, real player. You know, it's just so nice to have like a squad, and I think a deep squad, and a lot like you can have. I could ask you, and everyone could have a different favorite player on this team right now, and I don't think that's true for most teams, and that's a good thing. Like if you ask Dallas fans, like who's your favorite player, it's like Luka. Like no one's gonna say anything else. Like, but if you tell me your favorite player is Caruso, I'd be like, hell yeah. If you tell me it's Lonzo, I'm like, we'll talk later. If it's Patrick, you know, I feel like you could. I mean, truly, if it's Io, like I love Io. Like you know, I feel like there's a lot of it's the event. There's a lot of people to root for on this team, and I think that's like what makes me excited about this season. To me, it's the coach that I'm most worried about. I think.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't really know how to like judge coaching. Like we all think we do, but like I don't know. Like you know, it's like oh, I wouldn't have done that play, or like that's a bad timeout. Like that's all we really do. I just don't. When I watched last season, I didn't see much of like Billy Donovan like winning us games. Whereas like I could see it. You could see like I thought Jason Kidd won some games. Trigger warning. Udoka won some games for them, right? Steve Kerr, like, but I didn't see Billy doing anything to put them in a position where they're like, oh, he did these two tweaks at the end of games. Thank God he did. It was like, oh, thank God DeRozan is a god and hit this crazy shot. You know, that was kind of it. And that's just, again, I didn't play hoops. I'm sure there's stuff I'm missing because I don't know. It's hard to judge coaching when you're just watching TV. But he doesn't seem like I'm never like, oh, good call. That what a savvy move, you know. What a savvy substitution. And that could just be my own biases, but I just there's a little bit of like, is he a college guy? Is he a college guy? You know, this isn't recruiting. This is big boys. I need a coach. And because he wasn't Boylan, we're like, thank God. I mean, two toddlers in a trench coat would be a better coach than Jim Boylan. And so like it feels like maybe that honeymoon's wearing off, even though I want to root for him. And then maybe we'll trade for Bradley Beal and then they can be reunited. It'll be perfect. It'll be perfect, I tell you.
Well, my only knock like on Billy has been his rotations at times where you're like, this isn't working. Like, can we call the timeout and change his lineup, please?
Yeah, that's
right.
100%. There's like I said last time, like there's just never any urgency. You just see things like going off the wayside and everything's still the same. Like no rotations, nobody's getting subbed in or out. Like no adjustments are made, and we're just continuing on the same path. Like it's not working, but you haven't made any changes, and you're just chewing your gum a lot harder. Like that's all you're doing.
And he needs to stop chewing gum too. Like be a professional. Come on, let's get real. You're the head coach. You're not an assistant. You don't need gum unless you're quitting smoking. You don't need it. But I agree. Like the lack of urgency, especially towards the end of the season, right? Like when it was like when the honeymoon was over of us being in first and going up against the Bucks, which was like very humbling. Like that playoff series was a punch in the gut over and over again because it was like, oh, this is a team, this is a contender, and it felt like they weren't even really trying, and that's like they didn't have to break a sweat, and I was like, okay. Granted, we had a ton of injuries. Like I think that's a big thing. Like we were missing key players, but that is, I feel like this will be a very telling season because it's like, all right, now we know what we have. What's next? Because right now we still don't know, and I think it's been that way, and it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, that's the thing that things have just kind of, I don't want to say been alarming, but there are just certain things that just like make your eyes just kind of like get a little bit wider. Because when I look at Billy since he's been here, you know, the roster has been pretty much disjointed, and there's just been a lot of guys that we just found out couldn't really play basketball or weren't as good as what we hoped that they would be for this particular team. Now, when they've moved on to other places, you know, they've grown and they've shown, you know, a little bit more capabilities of with being on that court. So I'll give them like that with the roster makeup and everything and how things have constantly just been changing over since he's been here. But you talked about like with the way things ended with that Milwaukee Bucks series.
Oh.
And it was pretty brutal. Yes, we were missing players, but like I'm just wondering, and I don't want to take too much away from like a preseason game, but I think about teams that don't take preseason like oh so serious, like as veteran teams that have been around each other for an extended period of time. But when you look at like other teams that are trying to build that culture, like you saw like with that team, the Pelicans, how they just came out and they were just on right from the beginning. And
Yo,
that's
they're a fun team, right?
yeah, it looks like a fun team that was missing like a very significant player for them. It's gonna more than likely have a pretty good year. But like they came out focused and just with it and just into the game. And one of the things that was just troubling for me with that first preseason game was that it just looked like guys were just going through the motions. And I know that like we have some expectations, they have some expectations, but it's not like, you know, preseason is that far away. We're talking about like less than 2 weeks away. So I know that people were like, it's just a preseason game, but in the same sense, like, when are you going to turn it on? Because, you know, you need to have that mindset from the beginning, especially when you have like a key player like Lonzo being out for most of the year.
I think you're right, but I do think it's the first preseason game, and I do think like with Goran looked terrible, right? And it was like, oh, he's been playing the Eurobasket up until an hour ago, you know, like, and it's like he's 36 years old. I think he probably wasn't trying for his first preseason game. He shouldn't at that point. He should be a specialist and come in big games and be that savvy veteran. But I think there were tons of good things from that preseason game. Like I took more positives away from that game than negatives. Even though we lost, and I do agree with you about the lack of urgency, but I was like, I'm just really pumped about our young guys. That like, I don't know if I'm more pumped about them than Zach and DeMar, or if it's the fact that it's even a discussion to me is like wild. Like that rookie, man, like real deal, right? Like my Dallas friends are texting me about him, you know, and like that's crazy. Like that's the East. Like there's such disdain for the East and from Western Conference fans. It's insane. Present company included. I used to think it should be abolished for years, but including the boiling years. But I do feel like I take away from that game of, oh, there's a bunch. I was more excited about Bulls basketball, and going into that game, I was like, we didn't do enough, and Lonzo's hurt, and this is sad, you know. Like this isn't that fun. All these teams made we didn't make anything big. Like the Vooch trades looking not great with every passing day, and I'm like, oh no, I am excited. Like we have, at the very least, we have assets, and we have like really good basketball players, and that's how you build a good organization. So I agree with you about the urgency. but my takeaway was like pleasantly surprised and excited. And I don't know if anyone else felt that way.
Yeah, I took more good away from it. Like you said, Dalen Terry's play, he looked great. Vooch looked more comfortable. I didn't think like Zach, DeMar, and the other guys were really trying for first preseason game just because, like, with Zach, he's working his way back in with that knee. And then last year, preseason, we went undefeated. We had that hot start, and then we had that drop off at the All Star break. So I think it's better if they take their time, they build their chemistry up, and then they have that hot start in the second half of the season and take that into the playoffs, other than how it was last year.
I completely agree.
I felt the same too. I was overall excited. The only thing I was a little upset at was the lack of urgency or lack of effort at all on defense. But again, chalk it up to it being a preseason game. I do wish we saw a little bit though. But Dalen was the highlight for me. Like, dude, I just that energy and effort, and just to know like who knows where his ceiling is going to be just based off of that alone. Like it's just
Yeah, he's fun.
he's
Like if
fun. He's a fire starter.
who's gonna at the end in 20 years, who will have a better career, Williams, Io, or him? You can like,
Yeah.
there's not a bad guess. Like it wouldn't be crazy if Io had the best career of all of them. It wouldn't be crazy. I mean, it should be Patrick Williams the fourth pick, but like it wouldn't be crazy if those two had had awesome careers too. Like that's really good. And like we still have Kobe White. Like we have assets. We lost our picks, but we do have assets that people want. And I think I trust in AK that he will use these. He has players people want, which is always better. I'm a Mavs fan. No one wants our players. Like they're a good team, but like we have everyone that no one wants. It's crazy. And like I'm very envious sometimes of the Bulls, the amount of assets they have. Of just like, well, I'd like that guy. Ooh, that guy'd be really good. Look at, especially because you have wings. And if you have 3 good wings, oh my God, unbelievable. That's all you need. That's all you need.
So you did mention like I think we all can agree we have some like exciting young players. With Lonzo being out, who do you think benefits the most? Not that there's a good thing.
Lonzo's body. Man, benefits the most. Probably the rooks, right? Younger players. I just think it's like, I think collectively you're going to have to start playing people. It's not Kobe. For some reason, Kobe don't fit on this team. I don't get it. It should be Kobe, right? Like lottery pick, point guard, good. I think he's good. Like he should be able to, well, great. We lost Lonzo, but we got this guy. He's ready. It's not him. So I think Caruso will play no matter what if Lonzo's healthy or not. So I think the answer for me, who will benefit the most, is like we'll have to play the young guys more, and as a result, I think we'll all benefit more because they'll get their experience in 10,000 hours in quicker than they normally would. They're not just going to do warm ups and then sit.
I'm sorry. I meant like out of the rookies, like out of those young, who did you think would benefit the most with that opportunity being out there?
Yeah.
That's how he developed last year.
Yeah.
He got all that playing time and he developed so quickly. He went crazy. And it's just because he got all that experience.
He's so fun. Like truly. Like he's the one I want to get a jersey of. And I still believe in P. Will. Like I'm so glad we didn't do any Gobert trade. I'm so glad. I'm so glad we didn't swing for the fences this summer. I hope that we do when we need to. Like, I hope we have that. I hope we don't like get gun shy and we actually trade people away if we have to.
What do you think it's going to take for Pat Will to get some confidence? I think really that's all he's lacking. Like,
yeah,
it seems like he is always like in his head or overthinking things. And I just want him to have a little bit of Dalen in him. Just a little bit. He just needs to be more sure of himself. What do you think it's going to take for him to gain some confidence?
Like, what do I think?
Or is it just him?
I think I kind of like we're not ever going to change his demeanor, right? Like we kind of, and also we don't want him to. Like Kawhi is a weirdo robot. But I think like he just needs to get good at something. Like he's like, I'm the best one at this. Like whether it's defense or like whether it's like athletic. Like I feel like he just needs to feel like, oh, I'm the best on the team. I should guard this guy. Like this is me. I don't care about points. I'm fine if he gets 15, 8, and 5 that would be amazing, right? Like we would love that if he's not elite, but he spreads it out. But I think he just needs to like kind of get confidence going up against those. I think defense is where he gets his confidence. And then I think his shooting will come. Like he does overthink his shot, and he's got a good shot, which is super
Yeah,
frustrating.
you can see him thinking, like you can see it, like you can feel it happening, and then by the time he makes a move, like the opportunity is gone. So,
Yeah,
and you can see that. I mean, we all kind of believe he has this crazy potential. I still do.
I do.
I,
I ain't selling my
I just,
stock. No way.
yeah, I'm not either.
He hasn't had his first year was COVID. Like he hasn't had a real
Yeah,
time, it's all weird. So, and he's been hurt. I'm very excited. I think, again, I think it's just, we're going to have to be one of those teams that 7 players score in double digits, and then we'll win. Like we'll have to be one of those like teams where it's just sharing the ball. No one is the alpha and everyone is by committee. And I think that's beautiful basketball. I like watching that. And I think that's how we do it. Bush needs to get you 12. He doesn't need to get you 18. Great. And if he gets rebounds, we're fine. I think committee will be real, and then the team defense will follow that. And I think we'll be right there. I think we're probably like a 6 or 7. I want to be 6 so badly because I don't want to play it because I don't trust it. But yeah, what do you think? I think there's just too many good teams, but I think that's our, if we're 5th, that's amazing.
I think that, it's from our perspective, like we look at this team and we're like, we don't know if like they can necessarily compete with the top teams. But then when I take a look back, I'm like, well, what is a top team in the NBA right now? Because if you looked at the playoffs, like Phoenix struggled with that Pelicans team. Luka was doing, that Dallas team was doing fairly well without having like the full complement of their players. The Warriors looked like they were getting the business taken to them by the Grizzlies. And if Morant is healthy, like, who knows how that series winds up. And then Boston just seemed to kind of come out of nowhere. So is it that big of would it be that big of a shock if the Bulls actually won like a playoff game, not a playoff game, but a playoff round or two?
No.
Like,
if you told me the Bulls made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, I'd be like, I didn't expect it, but it wouldn't be shocking to me because I think dynasties are over right now. And I think every year we'll have 2 different teams in the finals for the foreseeable future, which I think is good. I love that. Like, I don't want to see LeBron James play the Warriors over and over again. I'm fine if LeBron does no more finals. I'm all set on LeBron in the finals. I'm all set. I don't need it. I think it wouldn't shock me. However, when I look, like, do we have any all NBA players? Like maybe a 3rd team, maybe, and that takes a really good season to get all NBA. And that's where I think we have to like be honest with ourselves because the talent is crazy. Like because Philadelphia has Embiid and Harden, the Nets still have Kyrie and KD. Milwaukee got Joe Ingles, which is like, of course. So they have Portis and Joe Ingles on the same. That's insane to me. Like coming off the bench, like those two. I don't want to play them. Look at the Pelicans: Brandon Ingram, Zion, CJ, Valanciunas. Like I just feel like there's so much talent. We even talk about the Clippers. Like the Clippers exist, and they can go 15 deep. And I think that's just. Everyone has an all-NBA player, right? Like, good players aren't going to make the all-NBA team next year. Really good players. And I feel like that's going to be I think the Bulls just have to be honest, unless Zach makes a leap or Patrick Williams makes a leap that is like crazy. We just have to kind of be honest. And that's fine. We don't have to have the most talent. However, in playoff series, usually the team with the best player does okay. We saw Luka do that to the Suns. They beat the first place team. They destroyed the first place team at home. Like, and it was because one dude was like, "Oh yeah, I'm the best player." Duh. I'm sorry. And it's okay that we don't have that, but we do have a really good team, and I feel like that's really good for the regular season and for making trades. So I think there's a lot to be positive about. However, we are always looking for those guys, that one guy who's the cornerstone. And it's okay that it's not Zach. It's okay. It's not him. It
Like,
could be. It could be, but it's okay. He's so good. I love Zach, but until he just consistently smokes fools.
I mean, we had DeMar's All NBA last year, and you can argue that Zach was on his way to making that list before he messed his knee up, because their stats were like very similar, neck and neck. So, yeah, I think it all comes down to, can this team stay healthy until Lonzo gets back? And
Is
then
Lonzo ever coming back? Honestly, do you think we will see Lonzo play as again?
yeah, I think he'll be back All-Star break, after All-Star break or around it.
All right.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I hope so. God, I hope so. Because that will be like our trade deadline thing, right? If we don't make a move, you get him. But I don't think, if we never see him play again, I think I'd be more shocked if I saw him play than not play.
We have a bad history with people in needs, so I don't have a lot of faith in this. I just don't.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. But I do think, I'd be shocked if he played this year. He can't even go up the stairs. I could see like a medical exemption thing happening, right? Like just for his contract. We don't want to pay him, so he doesn't play. So the insurance covers 80% of his contract or something. So they don't. So the Rams are still have to pay.
That'd be horrible.
But couldn't you see the Rams doing that? Like, couldn't you see that happening? Like, it could totally happen.
I could.
Well,
But
that's definitely a move that a jury would make.
Yeah, it's a very Jerry move for sure.
But hoping that that surgery he just had, hopefully they seemed confident that they found what was troubling him and they fixed it. So hopefully we'll have a good update soon.
I do like that he's back in Chicago. That sounds promising. I know I
Right?
can't really say too much, but it's nice to know that he's back in Chicago as of today.
isn't that so funny how like we're like, well, he's in the area.
Yeah.
That's good. Like that's how bad it is.
Yeah.
We're like, well, at least he's close.
right.
Like, we can geolocate him.
So, John, we kind of like went back in time with Matt and Dave. Like, we'd love to get your perspective, though, of like
They
when
did such a good job.
when you guys came together. Like, what was the process for you all coming together, just from your perspective and like how you viewed things? Can you give us a little bit of background about that?
Absolutely. And I thought they did a great job. And I also want to thank you guys. Like you gave them, especially Dave, like the time to tell a story, which I thought was really cool. And like I was listening to it, even though I was there for most of it. Like I was like, it was just really fun to hear. Like Big Dave getting to that first audition sound like hell. Like the Uber breaks down or gets in a car wreck, and finding the studio of NBC Sports is impossible. Like it's impossible to find, like just in general. It's in a basement. There's no outdoor, you can't like see it from the street. It's in a hotel. It's weird. I was very nervous auditioning. I only got the audition because one of the producers our producer Bulldog for the show, I knew his babysitter, and he asked her, do you know anyone in the comedy community who likes basketball? And she texted me, I was like, hey, you like basketball, right? I was like, yeah. And I grew up in Dallas. I'm a huge Mavericks fan. That's probably my first team. But when I moved here in 2007, it was like, 2007 and like 2009 Rose, I was like, oh, I'm going to adopt this team. Like I need an Eastern Conference team because like I want to go to games and like cheer, right? Like I don't want to, I live here and it's Derrick Rose. I wanted to like follow that story. So I love the Bulls. And so but I love the Mavericks too. But I kind of feel like a fraud, and I still do. But I got a Rodman jersey, but it's a Mavericks one, so I feel like it covers both. And the day of the audition, we get there, And Big Dave's 808. Peck is the most serious. Like he's like a fighter going into like he's Rocky. Like he's just focused. He's not talking to anybody. And we watched the first half of a Bulls game. That's that, and then we have to go on the set and do like whatever the show is going to be. And it was a Mavericks game. It was Mavericks Bulls, and I was like, "Oh baby, I'm playing with house money." And so like I remember, then they paired us up, and I remember just Big Dave is the most lovable human being on God's green earth. Like he is magical. That guy. I've never met anyone like him. He gets along with everybody. He really has something special, like that he has to offer the world. Peck does too, but like Peck was like laser focused, not talking. I got paired with Peck, and we were the last to go out of, let's say 12 or 14, right? So like they pair you up, and I'm like, oh no, I'm with this guy who's like real serious, and I'm a real big goofball, and I knew I couldn't out Bulls people. Like I knew that I'm not gonna be able to out. I didn't have the same. Y'all grew up with Jordan. It's like so unfair. Like you guys in the 90s, you guys had like Oprah, Siskel and Ebert, like Home Alone movies. Like Dallas had none of this. Like Dallas was the worst franchise of all sports in the 90s. Like I just can't believe what it felt like in Chicago in the 90s. Like I'm very like jealous that you guys have this feeling. Like that you guys, oh yeah, 2 3-peats. Like it's hard. Oh, he retired. He came back. It's like it's frustrating. Like it's like I know I couldn't compete with that. But when I did with Matt, and I was like, so I'm not going to out Bulls. I'm just try to have the most fun, because I'll lose if I try to be like Mr. Dr. Sports, which is a terrible name for a person. And Matt was amazing. Like I just remember like he like went from like serious like lighting up, and I remember I got a question about, do you think Dirk Nowitzki is underrated? That's what they asked me on this Bulls television program audition. And I was like, oh baby, this is all I've ever thought about. Like how much time you got? Like I got to like talk about Dirk Nowitzki on this Bulls audition. So I just felt like the gods were smiling. We go home. Weeks pass. I do remember after that audition though, Big Dave came up to me and asked for my Twitter, and we exchanged our Twitters, because I was like, I like this guy. Like I just like the vibe. We'll hang out. Weeks pass. We finally get a call for the second round. And I'm getting married like right around this time. So like it's like 4 days before my wedding is like the second audition. So I'm like on no sleep. My family's coming in. And I just remember it's very similar. They cut some people, we do it, and they're just putting people together just like they told you. And I seriously remember the second they put us 3 together, and I will say everyone was good. If you would have said like this so-and-so made it, I'd have been like, yeah, I thought they were great. And I remember just like looking at them and being like, okay, my goal is to get them to stop talking about basketball. Like I just remember that. Like I was just like, let's just follow the conversation. Let's see if we can like just like act like we're friends. And that was I did have a goal of like, I don't want to talk basketball. Like I want to talk about like, do you believe in ghosts? Like that. I just like I wanted to feel like we're friends. And they told me, we talked about Tom Hanks movies the entire time. What was the one that you mentioned? The one that we didn't mention? Splash? Was it Splash? You guys did?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And Road to Perdition.
Yeah. Road to Perdition. Chicago shout out. And so we just talk about Hank, we Hanks it up as you guys do. But I remember just feeling like these guys it was really fun. And again, everyone was good. Like people have gone on to do like other things, and you're like, oh, you killed, like they're successful things. And I just remember being like, that was great. And then I got married. Like I was just like, I'm getting married. And then I was going to go to advertising school at night, because like I didn't know what to do with my life, because I clearly wasn't killing it as a comedian. And I was like, I should make money for my wife. That's what men do. And then I remember 2 days on a Tuesday, I got married on a Saturday. The next Tuesday I was at school at night, and that's when we got the call. And I remember my very first question, I ran out to like I got it. I was in class. I was like, I need to use the bathroom. I called them back, and they told me. And my first question was like, who else got it? And it was Matt and Big Dave. And I truly was like so thrilled, because like those are the guys I wanted to do it with. And I didn't know them. I did not know them, but I just like knew there was a feeling. It was really weird. It was a very cosmic feeling. It's really weird. I've had very few of these in my life. And from day one, it was just like, oh yeah, we've known each other our whole lives. And like literally we text every day. I'm like, they're like brothers. It's weird. Like we got fired 2 years ago and we still text with our boss who, like I just drove to his house and picked up baby clothes. My first baby gift I got was from Matt Peck. Matt Peck's mom mailed us a book for our baby. I've met her once. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of stuff. And doing that, those guys are so smart and they know so much. And my goal was to like, again, just be the curveball guy, because I would watch them and I was like, I'm going to lose if I try to out like history, the Bulls of Matt. And I remember during games, Dave would always keep stats. He would always have the box score out and he would like have a notepad. And so for the show, he'd always know everyone's stats. And I was like, we don't need two guys doing that. So I'd be like, how many assists did, so-and-so have? And they'd be like, you should look up the box score. I'm like, well, he's already doing that. Just tell me, like, we're done. And it was I think because we were all in different corners, I think it worked despite not really knowing us. And I think we got into a groove. I think it, like the beginning was rough and it probably was still kind of rough. We all don't have like tons of media training. But I think we did get in a groove and it was like very rewarding and fun despite the basketball. And like, that was the hardest part was watching the games because you wanted it to be good. And I was just like, I remember we were like, they can't come out to that song anymore until they're good again. Like they need a new song. Like they're ruining that song. They need a new logo and new jerseys. I can't handle it. And those guys are very good at what they do. And it was just like the best job in the world. It was such a bummer when we lost it because COVID and local TV's dying. But I feel very grateful despite, and it's really funny that it was the Boylan years, all of it. I think that's like so funny. But yeah, that's how it went down. It was very just like random. But when we did finally get together, it clicked. And it was one of those weird things where you're like, oh, this is, you feel it. It's really, and I've done a lot of like performing with groups and it's rare when it happens like that. It felt like that.
During that transition, like when did you all realize that you were more entertaining than the games?
Oh, I mean, the bar is super low. I mean, true. Like I remember when like, I think when Boylan did that like 5 minutes in complete sub out of the starters. Do you remember that Celtics game? Was it a Celtics game?
Yeah, it was against the Celtics.
He didn't want to double lose, is what he said. I didn't want to double lose. And I was like, oh God. And it was really funny because like no one watched us. So we got to kind of be like, this is bad. Whereas like the real post-game show, and again, those guys could not be nicer. Like Will Purdue called me, my baby was born. Like what? Like I didn't even have my number. You know what I mean? He's like, congratulations. I'm like, thank you, Will Purdue. Thank you. Like Kendall Gill, he invited us to his house. Like they're so nice, but they were so miserable. And Kendall Gill could have gotten them 10-8 still, like at 51 years old for those teams. But Bill Dog told us, our producer said, like we were starting to do as well in the ratings as the post game for a couple of them. And that felt really good to be like, oh, good, we're all watching this. We all are fans. We're not going to stop watching the game, right? Like you stick with your team when it's bad. You don't turn it off. Like you only turn it off when Dwayne Wade and Rondo are on the team and you just can't deal with watching them. I took that year off because those are my two least favorite players of all time. And I said, they're in my city. I can't believe this. This is a joke. Who would have thought it could get worse? But you don't quit on your team, right? Like even when they're bad, you watch, because then when they win, it's so there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. So I think like, and especially in Chicago, when the Bulls are good, it's the best thing in the world. And I got to experience it a little bit last year, but I believe it. I think this is a hoops town. I really do.
Did you have to do anything to like mentally prepare before these before the shows, especially after like a super rough game?
We would like kind of take deep, like we would just be so like during the game, like what can we talk? And like sometimes it was so bad, like what can we talk about? Like without it being just like throwing grenades, right? You also want to be honest. You didn't want to like gaslight the audience of like, that's pretty good. And so we would try to find fun ways in of like people wearing clothes. Like we would just like try to like find the stuff that's silly. And Dave doesn't get mad. Like he finds the joy in everything. Like it's infuriating. but he would be a really good job. And the goal was just let's have fun. Like let's just be like we're hanging out. And if it's miserable, it's miserable. If it's fun, it's fun. But let's try to find silver linings. And if we have fun together, that might be good television. I think that was always our goal. Like let's like as long as we're having fun, who cares if it's a good show? Because like it's live. What are you gonna do? We can't do another take. If you make a mistake, we go to commercial. You know, like doesn't matter. And so like I think it being live made it really fun. And it was just like, and then you go home and then you're wired, you know, so and you have to go to sleep and then go to work the next day. But it was, you would just try to like find the silliness. And I think that was, because the NBA is a very silly league. Like there's no, it's not like football. Like football has concussions and, you know, it's like heavy. Basketball's fun. It's so silly. Like, you know, you have Kyrie, you know, you've got John Moran, who's like, subtweeting people. It's the best. NBA is the best league in the world. It's the best, and so that you just try to find fun in it. But it was hard. That was really bad. It was real bad. Getting the 7th pick again? Are you kidding me? Oh my god, I lost it. Lakers get the 4th pick. Oh, don't even get me started on that. I was so livid. But yeah, I think that's what it was. And we're just and Bulls fans, I will say this, I've dipped my toes in many fandoms. Bulls fans are like really supportive and really nice, and I feel like that's not the case with a lot of NBA fans, like fandoms, especially on Twitter. And I think there's something there. Like also you guys have the greatest player of all time on your team, and that never gets old, you know, like best logo, best color scheme, best player of all time. Pretty good team, pretty easy team to cheer for. The owners just need to spend like they're a big market team. That's all we needed. That's all we needed.
It takes a special level of talent to be able to like find those joyous moments when there's just like all we're watching is like a bunch of chaos. Like players don't know what they're doing, the coaching staff doesn't know what they're doing, the front office is just like, you know. So like I want to ask this question, but I don't want to like offend at all.
Oh, please,
like,
please offend
my
please.
mouth. But like
size 15. Damn.
6'2".
How tall are you?
I know, like people for some reason think that I'm very
That's
short.
amazing.
Like when I told Derek,
size 15 is crazy.
Yeah. I didn't even mean to share that. Like that's not what I was like. You know,
Well, now I can't stop thinking about it. No, so no. But ask the
and I don't
question.
want
I
it
can't
to
wait.
come off as offensive. But
It
I'm
won't.
just curious. Like, do you all think that with as much talent as you all had, that was coming through on through the TV and everything, do you all think that you all like benefited in some way with the Bulls being available and with you able to?
Yes, the answer is yes.
Okay.
I think like I think that I don't know, but like obviously I think if the Bulls were better, we'd have a job still. Like I do think that like if the Bulls were successful, people would be watching it. You know, like more there'd be buzz. It wouldn't like I do think a high tide rises all boats. Ratings would go up for the local games, right? Like and then so it advertised. And I think Kendall Gill's like, you have no idea what it's like during the Rose years. I go on NBA TV, man. They'd act like when the Bulls are good, you get paid more. It's the best. Like he knew. However, I do think we benefited being like the weird Misfit Toys show during a Misfit Toys year. You know, like we had the freedom to be like, woof, that was rough, you know. Whereas the button-up post game had to like break down Cameron Payne plays, you know, like what you can't. There's nothing there. I mean, I remember Game 1, Kendall Gill saying that the campaign experiment is over. Game 1 of that season, because like there just wasn't good basketball happening. There just wasn't. Zach was doing hero ball and he was so good, and like I at the time I really believed in Lowry. I thought he was so good. I still do. It just bad fit. I think it was bad vibes all around. But yeah, I do think we benefited it from being like benefit in the short term in terms of like fun. But I do think if they were good, the show would probably like Warriors Outsiders still exists. You know, like the other outsider shows are still going on in the other markets, some of them. So I do think that would be cool to still be on TV and doing that. It's easy. It's the best job in the world. It was just so fun to watch basketball and talk about basketball, and then go home. That was the best. No, they didn't have to prepare anything. It's the best.
Yeah, I think I told Big Dave and Matt, like you guys helped us through those boiling years.
That means the world because it
Like
was brutal.
Big Dave, he always brought the positivity. Relate to Matt and his rants, and then you just like were like the heart of the show. Like you
Oh,
brought
that's
this
so nice.
lovableness, not to be confused with the lovables, but you
No, I
brought this
wish.
you brought
I
this
did not
lovable.
they did not ask me back for a second audition for the Levels. No. That means the world because it was so fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just so fun. And those guys know so much. And like one work, right? Like he's playing it up and his points are always like valid. And I was like, honestly, yeah, you're right. I would be mad too. And then, you know, Dave is like his dad was in The Fugitive, right? His dad was in Groundhog Day. Like he's got like his dad's in all these famous movies, and like his mom's in like it's just like it's just there's so much Chicago love from both of them.
Wait.
Two very different Chicago
What?
parents.
His
Yeah, his dad is in The Fugitive, where he like the guy helps him, like the guy who works at the
Yes.
hospital, like gets him stuff.
Yeah.
That's Big Dave's dad. That's Big John Watson.
serious?
Did not know
And
that.
do you know Groundhog Day, the
Yes.
bartender? That's his dad.
Wow.
Yeah. He's in like way more movies too, and he did Broadway. Like he did One Flew the Cuckoo's Nest revival on Broadway with Gary Sinise. Like he's like the real deal, and he was like a trumpet player, and like in his 60s, like I'm gonna try to act. But like a very artistic, fun. That's a fun place to grow up, right? Like that's not, and I think Matt's family too, very like supportive, interesting, curating their own interests, and it was just I feel very like I found a Chicago family. You know, I was I was an actual outsider. You know, I felt very much imposter syndrome. I wasn't the biggest Bulls fan. There's no way, just by accident of birth, I couldn't be. Like, you know, I couldn't be. And instead of like faking it, just being honest about it, and being like, yeah, I don't know the most. Like there are times where they would reference an era of Bulls, and I'd be like, you have to teach me about that because I was 8 and I lived in Dallas, Texas. So please teach me about that. I did not know that. And they'd be like, you don't know that? And it was just they were very nice about it too. But I was very aware of like I didn't want to like claim the team without being honest about, you know, it's a good you don't mess with the Bulls. That's an institution. That's an American institution. So like
Just be honest. You were holding on to those Jamal Mashburn years.
Oh my God, I know the Tony Braxton years, right? Oh my God, when they all were dating Tony Braxton. Yeah, Triple J Ranch is what they called it. What a stupid freaking team. Ross Perot Jr. on the team or whatever. It was so terrible. Oh my God, miserable. I tell you. But on the Mavs and the Bulls, and like this whole season, I think will be very fun. I even think like the tanking teams will go crazy tanking because of these draft guys. And so I'm very excited for the whole season. I don't know how you guys feel, but like I'm more excited about the season as a whole than I've been in years.
I'm really excited, especially with we did do improvements, little upgrades here and there. I know a lot of people were disappointed because it wasn't just like it weren't these flashy trades, but
thank God though.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Me too. So where do you guys have already done this, but what is our record, or not even record, but what's our seeding end of the year?
I don't think we ever had any of us even answered that. I don't remember answering this one yet.
Well, I'm trying to think because I don't think like the Nets and what's going on with the Nets organization. And Simmons doesn't even know how to play basketball anymore. Kyrie, like, is this just your side job, or like what is your real profession? Like, I don't know.
That's a great way to put it. Like, this is his side hustle.
Yeah. So like, and even like with Boston, like the stories that are coming out of Boston are like just kind of crazy. And like for people to think that that's not going to have like some type of effect with the guy who was kind of like the architect of that
Yeah.
defense, getting them in that position, a position that no one thought that they were going to be in. I think that that's going to have a tremendous impact on the team. So I don't think that we're going to see those teams necessarily as high as what we probably thought that they were going to be. That's just my opinion. So I think that like with that turmoil that's going on right now, even with like the Bulls and missing Lonzo, it does open up some things where they could move a little bit higher than what people like are predicting. Because somebody was saying, and I don't want to go back into, but like, are we a play-in team? And I'm like, I don't
We might be
think we're
though.
but
That's only because someone has to be, right? Like someone
Yeah.
has to be. Like it's either like there's so many good. I don't think it's like a slight, right? I just think it's like we know who aren't. Milwaukee, Sixers, probably
The
the
Heat.
Celtics. Who the Heat could be playing team. They didn't get any that much better.
I honestly,
Kyle
I
Lowry's
think
older.
it just all depends on. I really do feel it all depends on our health. At the end of the day, it's hard for me to even say, but though, as long as we stay healthy, I really don't think we'll be a playing team. I mean, 6th seed if not more. But again, it's like that's like health adjacent. I don't think
It
really,
is.
it really just depends on that. So it's kind of hard for me to answer that question, unfortunately. But I do think, of course, that we've improved over the last year. I think that Dre is going to be like a big addition too, just because that addresses our rebound. I mean, it's pretty obvious there. We were awful with our rebounds last year, so we got that taken care of. And the addition of Dalen, we'll see what happens with Dragic if he has a better game after this first one. But the veteran presence is there, and Zach, of course, being healthy. DeMar's been working hard all off season. So
I love DeMar. Don't you love DeMar? I love him.
so much.
I love him so much. I love him so much. And Andre, how old is Andre Drummond?
I think he's
29.
like 28.
He's
29.
29. I thought he was like 38.
I think everybody did.
Like he's so
Everybody
young.
was surprised by that.
Are you guys gonna go to any games? Do you guys go to the games?
I do.
All
I'm in Florida, so I get to go to any games.
We're in Florida.
Right now I'm in Tampa, but I grew up in like the Fort Lauderdale area.
That's awesome. All my in-laws live in Tampa. I love that area.
Which part of Tampa? Because I'm not in Tampa. I'm outside of Tampa. Riverview.
St. Pete's Beach. Is that something? St. Pete's Beach?
Yeah.
They just moved from Jersey to Tampa. I've been there once, but it was lovely.
Okay. Yeah. That's about what?
Were you okay with the hurricane? I mean, you're doing this podcast.
Yeah. We went back down south, back to Fort Lauderdale, but
Awesome.
It was supposed to hit this area, and then all of a sudden it just like turned and got more of the like Cape Coral, Fort Myers area, Sanibel area.
Fort Myers got crushed.
Yeah. We had some friends that like had to evacuate, and we saw like the pictures, and my wife and I, and my family back home, we were like, that could have been us. So thankfully, selfishly, I'm happy that our family and everything turned out well, but I really feel for the people in the area because it's not like it's far away from us,
Yeah.
It's just about maybe
so
an hour. Yeah. So.
That's nuts. Well, I'm glad your family's okay. Oh my God. Florida too. Bulls fan in Florida, man. That's awesome. I love that.
Like, just go to a Heat Bulls game.
Oh, I know, right?
I've been to a Heat Bulls game before, but it's been a while since I've been able to get out that area.
I used to work on a cruise ship. It was 2011, and it was the spring, and we would dock right in front of the American Airlines arena.
Okay.
And I hated the Heat from 2006, being a Mavs fan, and I would give it the finger every Saturday when we docked. And then I couldn't believe we were playing the finals, and I was like, and I do think that had something to do with it. I think I put a curse on it. I really do. Like, because it was that year I'd just been giving the finger every Saturday. And then the Mavericks ended up finally beating them in a Pixar movie of a finals. I couldn't believe it. The best final since Jordan. I'll tell you that much. That's what Jeff Van Gundy said. Not even close. But yeah, this is so fun, guys. Thanks for having me on. This is I feel like I talked a lot, so I feel very bad, and I'll be unpacking that. But I really appreciate it, and I wish we gotta do this again sometime. It'd be so fun.
I do have to ask, Bulls
Yeah.
and Mavs play.
In the finals,
Who?
I would cheer for the Mavericks, I think. Luka Doncic is, when Luka leaves the Mavs, I'll follow him. Like I will, if he joins the Heat, I'll buy a Heat jersey, which is insane. Like I love Luka in a way. I've never cheered, like you guys cheer for Jordan. I've never cheered in my life for an athlete like this. Like Dirk was not like this. Like Dirk suffered. He failed. He went to like the outback and had to like whip himself. Like he suffered. He was quiet. Luka's like a conquering hero. He's like drinking Mountain Dew and like skateboarding, and like he doesn't, it's like comes in, it's like barely tries, and he's 20. Like, so I got cheer for Luka, and I just can't. He's my first son. I have two sons, and my oldest is Luka.
Congratulations, you've done great on
Thank you. Thank you. I just try my best. Try my best. Working really hard on him. But yeah, who's your MVP pick this year? All you guys.
Giannis.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Embiid.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's a good one. Who's yours?
I'm gonna say Zach because.
Oh,
Bulls.
come on. Okay. I mean, if he is, that's amazing. I would love that.
Like we would all love that.
My vote's in. I think it's Embiid's here. We'll give Giannis a third one. I think it'll be good. But this is so fun, y'all. I really appreciate for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for coming on. You're always welcome to come back.
I'll come back in a heartbeat, and I won't be on mute this time. I'll know better. I'll learn how to do Zoom. I'll read it. I'll watch a video on how to do Zoom.
Entrance though, without the mute.
Yes, just true. Like, what's going on? Are we doing this? But I appreciate it, y'all, and let's go Bulls, see red. Right? Let's do it.
Right.
All right. Yeah, go Bulls.
Awesome.
Hey,
thanks, y'all. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for coming on.
Bye, guys. Thank you. Have a good rest of your night. I'll see you guys. Bye.
John Sabine, former Bulls outsider. Great to catch up with him.
How do we have to go to like Dad was in movies? Like, how did we not have that? How did you not mention that?
Big Dave didn't mention it either. Or even Matt.
Yeah.
Because Matt was talking about Big Dave's mom and how his mom was like not forcing him, but concerned about his eating habits also. About eating his veggies.
And like two of my favorite movies too, like The Fugitive and Groundhog Day. Like, yeah.
That was certainly a crazy thing that Big Dave did not mention himself.
But Dave's not one to brag. It seems like he doesn't like that's not his style.
I saw how your face lit up though, Jess. I saw.
Oh, did it come up? Man, I really wanted to like talk about it. Yeah. My wife, she's always like clowning on me because like whenever like The Fugitive comes on, like I'm like geared to it. I don't know why. Like I am like a Harrison Ford fan and always have been because of Star Wars. That's what I grew up on. But you know, whenever that movie comes on or whenever Groundhog Day comes on, I will stop everything that I am doing. The child has to go away from me. Like everybody needs to leave the room. And that's what I'm sitting down watching. So does that make me a bad father? I didn't mean to admit of the pod.
I won't judge you for that. So yeah, we have another preseason game tomorrow. We play the Denver Nuggets, and it's already been said that Nikola Jokic is not going to be playing because of a sore wrist. I think he's been dealing with the wrist injury since like last season, which is why I'm picking Embiid MVP over Jokic this year. Don't think he'll three-peat as an MVP. And then we got Sunday against the
with,
Raptors.
Middleton and I'm sorry, I cut you off because I thought you were done, but like the screen froze on my end. Really, Zach though? Like you pulling for Zach? I mean, I mentioned that I think that Zach could have like get into the MVP conversation, but Zach, that's a pretty bold declaration there.
Don't press me too much on it. Just leave it. Go Bulls. But it's possible.
It is possible.
It is possible.
Yeah. Just
Derrick Rose said, "Why can't I be MVP?" And then he was MVP.
Right. That's right. It just, he could be, again, like we've talked about, he could be a great two-way player. He just needed a little defense, but it's possible.
Billy did, talk about his defense during training camp and said Zach could be a two-way player. He has the abilities to be one. So
he does.
He's improved on it. Yeah, we have games against the Nuggets and the Raptors. Nuggets tomorrow, Raptors on Sunday. So we'll be back to talk about those games next week, as well as show you our interview with Bulls digital content manager Nico Tan that we recorded yesterday. So be on the lookout for that. And until next time, go Bulls.
Go Bulls.
Then it's game over. The horn blows.